guys are so funny. You're trying to get me to do this stupid shit. And
she just whispered, "I'm a bad bitch," for anyone who didn't hear. Stop. 420.
I'm lit at Disney.
And the kids asleep in the bath.
There we go. A ball sack station. That's what a business owner looks like. Hello, everybody. I don't know why I started it like that. What the fuck
Did
was
you have
that?
like an air bubble?
Yeah, it was so. Hello, everybody. Like, what the fuck was that? My name is. Whoa, I am fucked up right now. What's going on? Welcome to Tattoo Homewreckers. This is a podcast where we talk about tattoos, life, and everything in between. My name is Callista, and this is my very best friend, Lou.
Hi.
And I don't know why the fuck, like, I don't know what happened to me.
I think it's like I know the last intro I really botched. I think it's probably the last several intros we're acting like this is our first time doing that.
Literally.
Not that we've been doing this for a couple years.
Oh my God.
So today we are going to talk about a really vulnerable, real subject, which is like the downsides of uprooting your entire life and moving.
Oh, yes.
If you're watching on YouTube, I'm aware we look kind of rough. That's kind of the point. I forgot. I didn't put my glasses on.
We're supposed to match.
Yeah, we look kind of rough. That's the point. Because it's how we feel. So,
I just want to point out too, if you're watching, this is not a cross behind me. This is a doorknob. It's really bothering me right now. It really looks like a little fucking
and
cross.
Also, we're not on the floor. It's just that doorknobs are that high in New Zealand.
Oh my God, literally.
Yeah.
They're so tall. They're up to my shoulder. For what reason? We
but
don't
not
know
all
yet.
of them.
Not all of them. The ones in our house, so it's up, down, up, down, up, down.
Yes.
Who knows?
So depending on what room you're going to, the door handle changes.
Yeah, exactly. Which is so funny.
But let's start with, what does your gender feel like?
Okay.
And then I can tell you a really fun story about how much my brain is mush right now.
Absolutely. My gender feels like that weird ass pasta sauce that I made the other day.
I'm so upset you did not take a picture of this.
I really should have, but there was so much. It was the ugliest piece of food I've ever made.
She wasn't a looker. I'll give you that.
She literally looked like Halloween mincemeat for some reason. Because I used red lentil pasta, which has higher protein, and then you sent this pasta sauce in a group chat a while ago that looked really good, and it's basically just like blended up beans, spinach. It's a green pasta sauce, or it's supposed to be green, right? And it's higher protein, so I was like, great, protein on protein, let's fucking go. And the spinach that I had used had a little bit of purple in it, and I was like, I'm kind of gambling here. This might not look very good. And it did not. It looked like sludge. It was so weird. So that's what my gender feels like today.
You know what, though? I thought it was tasty. It was a little bit weird at first, but if you know anything about me, you know I'm a huge fan of Lou meals, which means I cook for, like, macros, because I track my macros for a long time.
You cook for the gains, and you're like, whatever happens, happens.
And taste buds, like, don't factor in. And she said this was the worst thing she's ever cooked. And the next morning, I woke up and had the leftovers of it.
You did.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I would eat it again.
That. Well, thank you for doing that. I think maybe next time, half of the food experience for me is how it looks. So next time I'll use only green spinach, and hopefully it'll be better, you know, and then add a little bit of actual tomato sauce to it. I think that's what you said. It would help cut.
The tomato sauce would have helped cut the green taste.
Yeah, and the bean taste. It was very beany.
Yeah, it was very like greens and beans. And because I fucked up a lot of those sort of like meals in the past. And then been like, well, you're poor and this is the only food you have, so you have to eat it. And I've only made myself sick a couple times on like, no, you have to eat it, even though it looks like dog vomit.
That is crazy.
So yeah, it wasn't bad. It did look like Halloween food, though.
It did, right? It did not look like real food.
No. But it worked, and it was tasty, for me at least. I would say my gender feels like a wooden block that's been like thrown down, like the kids, like old school wooden blocks, and it's been thrown down the stairs. And then just kind of like everyone stepped over it and discarded it. And it's just been there so long now, no one's going to pick it up.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, that's what I feel like. That's kind of what I've done to my mental health right now.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I feel like uprooting your literal entire life and moving across the world will absolutely do that. This has been a great opportunity for me to work on my like self-talk, which is great. Because I think in most scenarios, I'm always asking myself, why am I so tired? Like, why am I so miserable? Why am I unmotivated? Why am I grieving? Why am I feeling this? Because, like, I kind of just expect myself to operate on a level of being so motivated and happy about it all the time. And I realize
to be fair, has never been how you've operated.
Oh, no. No, not at all. And so
that's never been a thing. So the move isn't like a new part of that.
No.
It's just that you've always had that about yourself of like, if you had a day where you didn't feel motivated, you're like, why am I not motivated?
Yeah, 100%. It's very intertwined with that American hustle culture, my like idea of being happy and self-worth is. And so this has been a good like opportunity for me to work on my like self talk. And it's fucking hard, doesn't even begin to explain it. You had said something earlier that like really made me feel better about it, where it's like saying it's hard is just too simple. Like, we are literally rebuilding our lives.
Yeah, I think it's really easy to get caught on the like, well, it's hard. Like, well, we knew it was hard. It's just an oversimplification of like when you break down all the steps that go into it and all the steps of like the mental labor. So yes, there are 300 plus boxes and objects to unpack. But then on top of that, it's figuring out where each one of these things goes to in the new life. And then the stuff that we didn't bring, it's figuring out what the like New Zealand equivalent of that is, or if that even fucking exists. Again, coffee creamer.
Yep.
One of my most favorite substances that I did not know was one of my favorite substances until we got here and discovered it doesn't exist here. And I still refuse to drink pus water. Like, you guys can keep your fucking disgusting milk to yourselves.
Yep.
I told Caboose this earlier. The best coffee I've ever had, by the way, I'm going on a slight side rant really fast, was in a hotel in Limerick, Ireland. And it was amazing. And I'm aware that they used milk there. And Caboose even commented, because he had a teacher that like brought him in milk for a class. And he was like, yeah, like that was the best milk I'd ever had in my life. This is the opposite. I don't know what's going on with the cows here, but they are not happy because this milk is just not it. Like, you can like taste whatever it like suffering, anxiety, whatever it is. And I'm not trying to say that like the dairy farmers here are like abusing their cows, but I will say that either the cows were not meant to be in this climate or something is happening, because that milk is just, it tastes like unhappiness.
Dude.
So for the people that say that the milk here is really good, I don't know, maybe that's the only milk you've ever known. Because like I felt like American milk wasn't good. And it just tasted like chemical and weird.
It's like watered down compared to how the milk is here. I feel like American milk is very watery.
But the milk here to me is sour. Like, it tastes like unhappiness. Like, I just want to go and be like, what's happening with your cows? Do they need therapy? Like, what can we do to improve their lives? Because I feel like they are not happy. Otherwise, their body should not be producing such vile substance. So
I think you overdid it on the milk there too for a second. It was too much. Because like that was the only coffee that was available was like flat whites.
Yeah.
Not so
disgusting.
Yeah.
Disgusting. Just terrible. Pus water. And the thing is that I've gone through phases where that was the only milk you can get. Because like traveling through even like Ireland was, you couldn't get soy milk most places. And even Japan was hard to find soy milk. So I had to go through, and like Japanese milk, also a bit watery, but still okay. New Zealand milk, you got some unhappy cows.
Yeah, it's a lot creamier, I would say. A lot
but
thicker.
not creamy in a good way. Because like Irish milk is creamy in a good way. So anywho, as you're trying to like let go of the things that like gave you comfort and joy, and then you're also trying to find like the new substitutes for like that stuff here, and you're trying to figure out where everything goes. There's so much mental labor that goes into it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like what we wanted to talk about today. Oh, but before I forget, so to let you know how fucked my brain currently is, I have makeup like underneath my eyeballs, and I just had to go pee before we record because I have a feeling it's going to be a long one. And so I was like, oh, I should, like, I went pee and then washed my hands. I was like, oh, you should clean the like black makeup off from underneath your eyeballs. And then as I'm like wiping that off, I'm like, oh my God, is this the toilet paper that I just like wiped my like vulva with? Like, did you just wipe pee all over your face? And I looked at the toilet and was like, there's no toilet paper in there. And that's because I had already flushed it and washed my hands. But for a solid second, I just had to like look at the toilet paper and be like, did you just wipe this? What is happening?
Terrifying.
Yeah.
Horror
so like
story.
that's where I'm at mentally right now.
Totally.
Is you might have just wiped your face with vulva tissues.
Yeah, dude, it's rough out here. It's hard to wake up and, again, like you said, be stripped of all of your like normal conveniences and comforts. And it's like small things like, I don't know, the numbers of the like petrol, like the gas things are different here. So instead of 87, right?
Yeah.
87, 88, 89? Or was it 87, 86?
No.
Whatever the numbers were in America, now it's like 91 and like 90 whatever. And it's little things as well as like energy drinks. Like I have been going down and getting Monster energy drinks because I just like, it's more of a kick, you know? Mm-hmm. It's more of that good old chemicals in a bottle that I want to be drinking. And so you don't have the regular comforts of like having access to those or Alani or like knowing, you know, where things are and like how things are named here are completely different as well. So shopping trips just take longer because you are relearning where everything is and everything is different. The aisles are different. Things that you would think that would be in the dairy aisle aren't there anymore. You know what I mean? It's shit like that like you are waking up to.
Give examples for people so we can actually teach them stuff too.
Of like different names or like.
No, like, well, different names, different locations for stuff. Like what's not in the dairy aisle that you thought would be in the dairy aisle?
I mean, eggs aren't refrigerated, so they're in aisles now. You know what I mean? And eggs would always be near the dairy. And I don't know if they're actually near the dairy here. I do know that like at the Woolworths that I like to go to, the yogurt is like awkwardly in the middle of like veggies and something else. I totally forgot. It's like in a weird section. And like it's just shit like that things just take longer, you know? And then you're also having to like wake up and like set a agenda for yourself every single fucking day while also gentle parenting yourself through this entire process where again, it's been a really good opportunity for me to work on my self-talk, but that doesn't mean it's not fucking exhausting. And it also doesn't mean that like we're not just unpacking suitcases into a long trip. We're literally unpacking our entire lives. So I'm unpacking like things like my storage things that like I technically don't have room for anymore. Like where am I going to put these? Or like I'm unpacking like clothes that I'm like, damn girl, like did you really need like 50 crop tops? Like,
yes.
Oh my God. You know what I mean?
Because you won't
like
be able to buy them here.
Yeah. And I'm grateful to have them. Don't get me wrong. But this also means that I just won't go clothes shopping for who fucking knows, like years now. You know, I just have so much. And it's hard. I shouldn't even say it's hard. It's like, it's tiring waking up to a mountain list, right? You're slowly chipping away at that mountain and like just having to dig deep and be like, okay, so I know that you feel like dying today, but what is something that you can do while you do that? What is something that you can do that doesn't make you feel like you're going to shoot yourself? You know what I mean? And like averting to task.
Well, there are no guns, so you don't have to worry about that.
That's true.
Ooh, actually, I did not mean to take over this conversation.
Go ahead.
But I will say that something that is definitely showing up that I did not realize was some trauma from living in Reno is that Caboose was breaking down styrofoam because here they prefer that you like break it down and like melt it down before you dispose of it. So that way it doesn't take as much space. So he's been like melting that down in acetone. Fun little random science thing.
That's been very fun.
But he was breaking it up and I had like a headphone in, but I could hear like some pops that sounded pretty consistent. And I like had to take my headphones out and be like, oh my God, is somebody being shot? Like those sound like gunshots, like off in the distance gunshots. And there is a stadium not too far from us. To be clear, we live in not a huge town. So we're, I guess,
nothing
city.
Is very
so nothing's
far.
very far.
Yeah.
But there's an awesome like rugby stadium. And when they do games, they do fireworks. So we hear fireworks a couple times a week. And it's not super loud, but it is enough that like a couple times we've all like been looking at each other like gunshots.
We're like, huh?
And when I took my headphones out, that sound of the like styrofoam was much closer and being like bounced around the house. And I was sure that like there were gunshots going off in our like neighborhood. and had to remind myself that, because like I instantly was like, where's Callie? Caboose is outside. I know Caboose is outside. Is he okay? And realized that I was like, I am so used to living in such a like shitty, dangerous city.
Yeah.
That there is still like that trauma being held within my body of like, your loved ones could be shot at any moment.
And I think it's been such an interesting experience, like seeing how our bodies are reacting to things like that, and mentally we know we're safe. Yeah. I recently too was Googling like, okay, what like self-defense weapons can I have in New Zealand? You know, because like we, again, live in a smaller city. It's a walkable city, which is amazing. And I love that. And since I was like, okay, so, you know, if you're going to go to work in the next few months, like, you know that like you tend to work really late. So what are some things that you can get to like protect yourself more? And I realized like upon looking, it's actually illegal for you to carry any kind of knife or like taser or pepper spray. For tasers and pepper sprays, you actually can go and get a permit, but you have to go and contact your local like police like station in order to go and receive that permit. And I'm sure they've got training classes and blah, blah, blah. But it actually made me feel safer that like it's not actually a thing. And it was hilarious because one of the websites was like, you can get a permit, but as far as self-defense goes, we suggest that like if you are ever in need to use self-defense, remember to use your fists, use any kind of backpack or purse you have, use your umbrella. I was like, that is so fucking funny. Like, so adorable. Use your umbrella.
Because they consider...
No.
Well, they consider mace a weapon.
And it is. And I thought, you know, it was really refreshing because I was like, wow, I've been living in like a country and a city that's just like necessity to carry something with you, right? And I thought like I was so programmed into believing that that's normal to carry a weapon with you, and it's not. It's fucking not. It really it's not normal. So yeah, I thought that was really interesting. So it's cool to see my body's initial reaction, also my assumptions of like, oh, you need to do this for safety, and then also be like calmed down by like just the way they operate things.
Yeah.
Here, you know?
I think that was like the part that I realized where I was like, it's not a gun because guns aren't prevalent here. Yeah. We did have like neighbors told us about like one incident. And it's like the only incident that's happened in like ever that she's been here, where somebody was housing their sibling who had a severe drug problem, and their dealer came to collect and apparently drove into like a mailbox and one of our bushes.
Yeah, when we first moved in, I was like, what the fuck is this like car bumper doing here?
Yes.
I guess that we could just get rid of this, right? Like there's just a straight bumper and like hidden in the hedges and whatnot. Yeah,
and apparently he had hit the hedges and hit some mailboxes.
Because it's a long driveway.
And it is incredibly
Homeboy did not expect to do a 16-point turn as he's trying to get away.
To be fair, it was not our driveway. It's a neighboring driveway. But we had multiple people who were like, we are so sorry you've moved in when we have just had an incident.
And we're like,
and we haven't cleaned up. We didn't know if the police wanted the bumper. And so like hearing that they were like sad and like, oh my gosh, we're so sorry that you've moved in and such
we didn't
like
clean that up.
Terrible time.
Yeah.
But they're like, but that's not normal. But he apparently had been like waving a gun around, and like one of the neighbors that had told me it was like her only time in her entire life seeing a gun and or like hearing of an incident in which someone had a gun. So it's like reprogramming myself to be like, not everyone here is like used to that world. So like having my body go through, oh my God. And like, I literally ran up and like got up and ran to Caboose because I knew he was outside. And then I saw that he was breaking styrofoam. And I was like, well, that's some unresolved trauma. But that is part of the case of like, when you move, like you said earlier, like we're unpacking like more than just suitcases. And like it made me realize I'm like, yeah, we're unpacking trauma. Along with the boxes that we're unpacking, we're also unpacking trauma. We're unpacking the fact that the world that we did exist in the United States does not exist anymore.
Absolutely.
So there's the mental labor of like, when I do think like, oh my gosh, like, was this a mistake? Like, did you like uproot you and your friends' lives? Like, and make us go through all of this only to then be like, oh yeah, you did it for the correct reason. Cause like we had discussed this the other day when we were like processing through all of it, that like it's not like we just moved out of joy. And I think that that's a really big, like, different space is like, if we had moved and it was just out of a place of joy, then you have a little bit more excitement. But we moved, like, the final decision came down in July. In, you know, March, when the immunity case came to the Supreme Court, I was like, okay, we probably have to move. Yeah. We'll see how it goes, but we probably need to start thinking about it and, like, actually proactively working on this. Yeah. And then the decision came down in July, and by October we had bought our plane tickets. Yep. And so, like, the whole thing was expedited because, my biggest fear is what is currently happening in the US would be what's happening.
And where people are getting fucking, like, bagged up and kidnapped and thrown into centers and, like,
with no due process.
No due process.
Nothing.
There's literal people who are missing now because of it as well. And it's people also who are legal citizens of the United States. I think that's what's missing, like, to, like, a lot of the social media outlets. And, like, don't get me wrong, if you're in the right corners, then yes. But, like, primarily if you're here to see us, you're probably here for a goof and a gaff. And, like, you might not have the same algorithm, but people are actual legal citizens of the U.S. and they're still getting cuffed by ICE and taken away. Yes. Which is terrifying.
There was an incident that I was, I get a lot of my content from podcasts where a reporter was discussing the fact that a, like, gentleman went to present his ID and the ICE officer just threw it onto the ground and detained him anyway. And so, like, the fear that I had around, hey, I wasn't born in this country and neither were my parents and your parents weren't, was all incredibly valid. And so it is the case of, like, I am very fortunate that we were able to move, but it is the, like, I don't know, the, like, I guess trauma and, like, the sadness that this is happening. Yeah. And that, like, we did what we could to, like, be able to advocate and, like, promote and, like, vote in ways in which this wouldn't happen, but it's still happening, which means that still carries its way over here. And
for sure.
I have had a couple of people be like, well, now that you're there, like, you should, like, not follow US politics. Like,
oh my God.
But it doesn't mean that I don't, like, I can't just turn off the caring.
Well, it's also, like, us making the move and you being able to, like, see what was going to happen is because you followed up with worldwide politics. Yeah. Because you knew the patterns. So, and it's also really callous too, because, like, I don't know, I could never just, like, shut off the news to my home country. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I still want to know what's going on with, like, people over there, especially because, like, I mean, we left a lot of friends in the United States and I'm choked up talking about it. And, like, I have family there that still lives there. And, like, seeing everything that happens is really important for me that my family knows, like, don't open the doors to ICE. Like, oh my God, like, holy shit. And it is, like, the peak of, like, and I know this is ironic coming from someone who isn't currently in the United States right now, but it's still emotional burnout for me where, like, every day I wake up and there's something worse happening. Yeah. It just gets worse. And it's exhausting on top of, like, trying to figure out, this is going to sound so, like, privileged, but trying to figure out where to put my clothes, like, trying to figure out, like, where to put things in my room. Like, I
don't think that sounds privileged. And the fact that I think it's relatable for the fact that, like, everyone who is stuck there, who either wasn't able to get out in time, which if you can get out, please get out. Yeah. It's only going to get worse. Totally. And you can still continue to fight from other places. Or if you know someone that needs to get out, get them out. Because you can do a lot more when you're not worried about your direct safety. You can still do a lot. But I think the relatable part to that is that you still have to get up and do your life.
Yeah, right.
And that's the part is that, like, it's not to say that this is harder than getting up and going to work, but it is the stripping of anything that is familiar. And then there is also just the survivor's guilt that comes along with being one of the people that left.
Oh, 100%. And, like, I mean, we know a mutual person who, like, has also decided to move and, like, move back to Germany because he was like, absolutely not. I'm not going to be here for this. I know how this plays out. Yeah. And it's just so, I don't know, it's really surreal. It's such a surreal experience. And yeah, I agree. Like, no matter what, you just still have to do your life. Mm-hmm. And I feel like one of the things I wanted to talk about on the podcast too was like the stripping of also just routine. Like, I miss like being able to go to work and knowing what time I had to be there and rushing to get out the door, and I didn't have time for breakfast, but I was okay with that because like at least I had a routine.
And now if you needed to, you could order. You knew what restaurants that you could get food from.
I knew exactly what my favorite restaurants were and what to order from them and how it was going to taste. And
you knew what you were going to get. And then like the biggest grievance is like, okay, well, Grateful Gardens obviously has a new chef who like just did some weird
Loves
shit.
lemon for some reason.
Yeah, why is there 17 lemons on that?
What is going on?
And instead, now it is that case of like when you restart life, you are genuinely like, we were talking about this, how like you had missed like the familiarity of restaurants because again, she's a genuine fucking foodie. Everything to her comes back to food. I'm a coffee person, so everything comes back to coffee. But it is that thing of like, you didn't just know that information. And I think it's really easy to be like, well, you know, like you just had to gather that, but you spent years of your life, like literally your whole life living there, cultivating the opinions about what restaurant was good, what restaurants are bad.
Absolutely.
So it's a fucking numbers game.
Yep.
But when you first move and you're obviously trying to save money because you aren't working at a job that pays you. Instead, you're working at rebuilding a life, decorating a home, building the business up, decorating the shop, getting everything going, all the shit that needs to be done in order to, you know, move and establish a life. You then don't have the luxury of the money or time, but most importantly, the money to try every motherfucking restaurant.
Totally.
And then also the emotional labor of like, yes, this one's good, or like you order from them. Well, don't worry if you ask for like a change on it, they're not gonna fucking change it.
Or
and then you got like food you can't get.
Anyways, it's just strange. And you're like, what is happening?
Yeah, like
what is going on?
And I think that like that's the part. Like, yes, we talked about like the serious part of like leaving.
Yeah.
What will be a completely torn apart country.
Yeah.
Is the weird part about moving is that it has its own set of struggles. And one of those is zero familiarity. Like, I understand why people move back. Let me be clear. We're not fucking moving back. But I understand. Before you get like, oh my God, they're going to come back. That's not happening.
Yeah.
But I understand that like longing for familiarity, like that longing for restaurants that you know, the reason why people want to go back because they're like, oh no, I know people and I know what it's like there and I know the streets and I know like all of that.
Yeah, I know what this is going to taste like. Like it's right down to the ingredients of food that we use. And like the produce is awesome, but like, why does the milk taste funky? Or like we recently got cheese and it wasn't labeled. It just said tasty cheese. And we were all like, what the fuck kind of cheese is this then?
Yeah. I mean, it's cheese, so you can't go too terribly wrong.
Oh, totally.
But yeah, it is.
But we said that about pizza earlier too, and we ordered from a pizza place, and it was fucking weird. We were both like, "What is happening?"
Well, all three of us were like, no. Like, we had, like, indulged and we're like, yeah, we're going to order pizza.
Yeah.
And then, like...
And it's cheap. And
yeah, it's cheap. It's great.
Right down the street. It'll be awesome.
It is, like, right down the street. So we were really excited to find, like, a good pizza place because it's got great reviews. And then the sauce is made out of tomato paste and is got some added sugar to it.
Yeah.
So if you've ever had just a can of tomato paste because you didn't have anything else to make pizza with, that's kind of what it tastes like.
It's like pizza jam, again, with the tomato sauce being like fruity. It's so sugary. It's literally jam and pizza. It was so weird, but whatever.
Wasn't great. So it is that case of like, you don't have any of those like distinct creature comforts. You were talking about Trader Joe's this morning.
Yeah.
Because you need to explain what started you on the Trader Joe's.
Absolutely.
Because you guys, we might have just found like a dope ass side hustle.
Y'all, oh my
I'm
God. So obviously we're in the homesick phase of like moving across the fucking world. And I was scrolling through Facebook Marketplace, as one does. And one of the people was selling a Trader Joe's tote. And
Can I ask for how much?
$30. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know
that's
how
expensive.
much. I'm not paying $30 for a Trader. I'll fucking fly back to the
$10
States.
if I go. Yeah, what the hell?
Are they $10?
They're cheap, brother.
I didn't think they were $10. I thought they were cheaper than that.
Oh, really?
Drop in the comments how much a Trader Joe's bag costs at your local Trader Joe's.
Let us know.
Because I thought they were like $4 for a Trader Joe's bag.
They're so cheap. So cheap. I think it depends on which Trader Joe's bag, though. This one was one of the fancier ones.
The canvas ones?
The canvas ones with the blue trim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like, they had the canvas one that had like, I think it was like a multicolored pattern on it.
Brother.
The one that we always had.
Yes,
where
that one's dope.
I don't know where that's at. I'm hoping it's packed up in one of the boxes.
The one they also had Trader Joe's had a thing where they were selling the mini versions of those same totes. So cute, so fucking cute.
Yeah. So if you can get a Trader Joe's bag,
bitch, send it to us. I will suck your dick. I'm kidding. I won't. I will literally
for international
dick sucking. No, that's not gonna happen. I was joking. That's a joke. Anyways.
Maybe it's not.
So she was selling like
DM me. I'll give you her address so you can send
Stop.
it straight.
So, yeah, she was on Facebook Marketplace selling it, and she was selling it like it was literally like a Gucci handbag. She was like, this is literally from the United States. I got this in Los Angeles. It is the coveted Trader Joe's bag. And I was like, damn, I want to buy that bag, but I'm not spending $30 on it. All right. $30 can get me a lot at Chicken Wicket. Second of all, that's how I compare things in my brain. It's to food. I'm like, okay, so if it costs this much, how much of a meal can it get me? And if it's not worth it, then it's not fucking worth it. So, any hoozles. I was like, damn, I miss Trader Joe's so much. I miss being able, and I took it for granted. I keep saying that the United States is like my terrible ex-boyfriend. But like, I don't know, he like died in a horrific car accident. So even though he was horrible, like I still miss him kind of. And like, it's shit with grief where it's like,
I think accurately right now it would be a plane crash since there are a million plane crashes happening.
Literally. Oh my God. Did you see that? I'm going to deter for a second. There's a plane from Vegas to Reno that had to stop because one of the lithium ion batteries caught on fire in the plane. So they had
that's so upsetting for the person whose lithium ion battery that was.
Absolutely. And also it's only like a 45-minute flight, so that sucks, dude. That sucks so bad. And they had to go down the slide.
I think that no. I mean, the slide part
people had to go
fun.
down the slide, and someone in the comments was like, I was on that flight and I was so pissed off because I was towards the front of the plane, so they didn't let me use the slide. It was only
no. Yes, I would be pissed. So I forgot what flight we were on when somebody was having like a medical emergency,
a seizure,
and then they asked.
That's the
like,
second flight I've been on that someone has had a seizure. Did you know that?
And no, I did not know that. Yeah. And Caboose and I were just like, I swear to fucking God, if they have to stop this plane. And I felt so shitty and callous, but I was like, we're having the shittiest day ever.
Just take
I do not. And then if you don't get to ride the slide, because at least then you're like, okay,
I rode the slide. That's like a once-in-a-lifetime experience.
Yes.
Well, it was a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Now it's happening all the time. So
yes, okay, so your shitty ex-boyfriend America.
Yeah, my shitty ex-boyfriend America.
Oh, I'm sorry. America!
Fuck yeah.
There you go.
So, you know, when you're grieving through something, you're like, oh my God, I miss this thing that they did that pissed me off so bad. I miss the fact that the only time I could go to Trader Joe's was right when they opened at like 9 a.m. in the fucking morning, because it's a zoo otherwise. Anyways, when you go right when it fucking opens, it is luxury. And I would always say that, luxury. I can walk through the aisles. No one's bumping into me. No one's in my way. I'm not in anybody else's way. I like can literally just stroll and peruse the way that I was meant to. Mm-hmm. I miss doing that so much. And I miss like knowing like, oh my God, here's the light cheese. This is low fat. I know where the feta is. I know where this is. And like knowing exactly where everything is and having the turnaround time of like 30 minutes max. I miss that shit. Now I have to be like literally looking at every separate item being like, what's higher in protein and lower than fat? Okay, so I have this thing. And now I have this thing in my hand, and literally comparing and like not knowing the brands that I like it. That shit sucks.
And if you're thinking, dude, you had to do that same thing at Trader Joe's. Yes. but you got to do it over a period of years and not over a period of days.
Yes.
And that is that like distinctive difference that happens when you do move, especially when you move countries, because yes, they speak English, but it is different because like Caboose, when he asked for a fly swatter, and the only fly swatter they had was electric, and then he asked if they had a manual one.
An acoustic one? Yeah. Y'all don't have the acoustic version?
Yeah, you don't have a non-metal one, which to be fair is like meant to zap the flies.
Yeah.
But it doesn't, it does zap you if you touch it. It fucking hurts. But it doesn't actually kill the flies. And there are more flies like in the house because all the windows are open. And let's be honest, it's only like 1 or 2 flies, but if you are an autistic girly like myself and you get really distracted by the fucking horrendous flying noise they make, it's very awful and distracting. So he did, however, manage, because apparently the only places that he could find it was at a, oh my God, a home improvement store. So he went to Bunnings yesterday, which is like their version of Lowe's.
That's the thing, right?
I'm sorry, Home Depot, because it's orange.
Different names for different stores, obviously. It's not the same company. So I'm always like, is Bunnings the one? Bunnings is not the
Home
one.
Depot. It's orange like Home Depot.
It's orange like Home Depot. But I have to like literally remember, and I'm like, and then Miter 10 is
10 like Lowe's, or it's blue like Lowe's.
Is it blue like Lowe's?
Yeah.
Okay.
Miter 10's blue.
There you go. And that's the thing. It's like having to remember, and then being like, but Warehouse is neither one of those. Warehouse is like the Walmart of things, which I actually love Warehouse. Don't come for me.
Okay, let me actually do a little like side thing here because Warehouse is not like Walmart.
It's not. It's such a different experience.
If you said, can Dollar General or the dollar store also kind of connect with like Ross? Or what's the other one that was like Ross?
Like TJ Maxx?
Yeah, TJ Maxx. Can they kind of like have like a baby? But I really want it to be gray inside.
It's also like it's kind of odd because it's also still like hardware store style. So there's still like concrete floors. And like it just feels like
a warehouse.
It feels like a
warehouse that they said, hey, we're gonna put a Dollar General. But we're going to give it more stuff like it's a TJ Maxx.
Yeah.
Like that. It just has like the amount of stuff a TJ Maxx has, but it's very much the same shit that you get at a dollar store. But they do have a couple electronics. So I feel like the reason I want to do a couple breakdowns on stores is because I feel like people have kind of lied or misconstrued people. You can put it whatever way you want. Warehouse
it's hard because it's like, what Target are you going to? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, depending regionally.
People said that Kmart was going to be like Target. And
the Kmart here, no, the Kmart here is if you combined a like Ross or TJ Maxx, or like even at some points of it like a Home Goods with a Walmart. So you have shit, but it's real fucking random. Stuff is not where you think it should be.
Oh,
so
yeah.
You're like, no, it's the chaos of a Home Goods.
Chaos. It's very chaotic because, again, you're like, okay, I'm looking for this item. The tag on the shelf says it should be here, but it's actually like 5 feet that way.
Yeah, they just find a spot and they're like, looks good, shove it there.
Sounds good.
I would fucking punch a baby to go to a proper Target, like a nice Target, because like the other day we were in Kmart here, which is again their version of a box store, but is Ross, really. But I was in there and I started to cry in the store because I missed just going to a Target.
Absolutely.
Getting a fucking Starbucks. And just like walking around a Target. And I understand that these are massively first world problems, but also the US isn't a first world anymore. So, and
also we're boycotting Target now. So we couldn't even really ethically enjoy it, even if we
not
could.
Target furniture here. Because that's not
holy
the same,
shit, they have a Target here.
Same logo.
It's this exact same logo. Almost the exact same font. It's a Target.
Oh, it is the same font.
It's the same fucking font.
Target did not, Caboose said it. I forgot the word. You guys are in your cars or at home yelling the word. Oh, they didn't trademark it for New Zealand. And so New Zealand.
Because, like, why would they?
It.
So New Zealand said, okay, and then turned it into a strictly just furniture store.
Yeah.
There's only couches. That's where we got our couch, actually.
The
from
world's
Target.
largest couch.
Yep. And we got our mattresses from Target. It's like an actual just furniture.
The world's smallest mattress.
It's so fucking funny. Oh, yeah. And that's other shit that we have to get used to.
Yes. So, okay. I had done extensive research before moving. Mm-hmm. And this is the hard part about research, is that you don't know what's going to work best for you until you like get there, and then you fucking figure it out. So I was told, hey, don't bring your bed. It's not going to fit in any rooms. Also, the sheet sizes are different, so you won't be able to get different sheets anyway. So we said, okay, even though we love our bed and our bed frame, you guys, the best bed frame ever. It was 17 inches off the ground, so it was lovely because the dogs, we basically had a whole entire area for the dogs underneath it.
So cute.
And also the fear of like someone's under your bed can never happen because you can just see under your bed. And it was lovely and perfect, and I loved that bed frame so much. And then we ended up selling that to the new homeowner. And got here, we got our king size bed ordered. And the king size bed here is maybe 1 inch wider than a queen size bed. Mm-hmm. So great if you want to like not have room, if you want to be smushed up against your partner, if you have non-moving around the bed sex,
which is
sure, it's lovely.
It's also wild to me because again, we've come to the island with like the most population of tall men. Dude.
And tall women.
And tall people.
Like, I feel like a small person
Our
here.
non-binary tall people as well.
Yes. Caboose complains about the fact that he no longer is a big dude. He's just like a dude.
He's just a regular dude.
And I have never in my life seen, I've always been like, hey, I will climb that man. Totally. Like, I love a big dude. I want the mountain from fucking Game of Thrones.
You've always been into like large men, and I have not. So that's an issue for me.
Well, good luck to you.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
You can find the runt of the litter.
the runt's gonna be 6'1". Like,
yes.
Literally, it's crazy how many people here are over 6'2". Mm-hmm. It's insane.
And broad.
I feel like a mouse.
So why
they're not they're not lanky.
No.
They're fucking big.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But it's the first time in my life that I've been like, oh no, too big. That's too big for me.
Yeah.
Consistently with so many people.
I'm actually like a small child here, which is such a bummer, but whatever.
It's great.
I don't like it. No. Well, at least I fit on like things. There's also random things of furniture here that are a lot smaller.
And then random things that are a lot larger.
Why the fuck is my beanbag the biggest thing that we've bought? It is like, okay, when I bought a beanbag and saw the picture, I'm like, that's cute. That'll fit. You know, it's just a regular beanbag. This beanbag is bigger than me.
To be fair, it is labeled a regular beanbag. So if you're thinking, hey, maybe she got like the exercise, no, it's a normal beanbag. It's supposed to be a standard size beanbag.
Standard beanbag, and it's fucking massive. For what reason? I was like, everything else here is so small.
Yeah.
Your closets are smaller. Your fucking your beds are smaller. Why is the beanbag this big? I don't know.
The toilet's like weirdly low.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh my god, the sink space is also smaller. Again, these are little things that like just pierce you throughout the day of like, damn, this might be the most American thing about me, but like I fucking miss big things. Like I miss the cheese slices here are thin.
Oh yeah.
Which like, okay, to be fair, been unintentionally losing weight. Appreciate that. But I'm like, god damn, dude, what?
Yeah. But then random things like our couch is the largest couch I've ever seen. Mm-hmm. Like our outdoor furniture, also massive.
Yep.
So you end up with like stuff that's like weirdly large and then weirdly small. Mm-hmm. Whereas I will say in the US, at least everything's pretty like universally large. It's only going to happen if you like order some shit online and then you're like, oh no, this is weirdly small. Yep. But in the store, you're like, yep, great. Mm-hmm. So that is the like really hard, one of the really hard parts is that like like genuinely nothing's familiar. And so like I wanted to talk about this podcast because every time I make a post about like the struggles of moving, where I'm like, I'm really grateful that I move, but this is the genuine reality that it's exhausting, that every day you wake up and it's exhausting.
And you just want a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
And I just want to have a whole roll of sushi, which by the way, that's not a thing here.
Oh yeah.
Sushi here is they have the same mentality of it's a grab and go food. So it's self-serve. They just restock the cabinet when they can and you grab it piece by piece and you pay piece by piece. Now, mind you, it's pretty good. It's solid, I would say. They're large pieces. The pieces are huge. So they really deter from overeating here because your girl loves sushi and I will overeat it till the day I die. But like I was like struggling to finish my meal. And but I do miss that. Like I miss being able to like DoorDash a whole roll. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Or like 2 or 5. Like, like
that's why I said because I'm like,
sure,
really, one roll?
Just one? Are you sure about that?
I'm like, I've seen you eat at Tokyo Sushi.
Oh,
I'm just proud that I beat you at Tokyo Sushi.
I'm so impressed.
I'm still the reigning fucking champ.
Yeah.
And I will be forever.
Mm-hmm. How many pieces? Was it 59? It was larger than that.
I don't remember. We'd have to scrub
through
through
all the episodes. You almost hit 70 at some point, didn't you?
No, I think it was 58 is what I got.
Okay, something like that. And then I got...
but then I didn't want to order a whole other roll.
I got like 42 or something. Yeah, and then not be able to finish it. Yeah.
And also, like, it had been taking forever. So I was like, I don't want to order a whole other roll and then only eat, like, 2 pieces.
We were going strong, though.
Yeah, we were joking around this morning about, like, if it wasn't for the fact that obviously you can't fly into the United States right now because they're just detaining people.
A, you're going to get worried about being detained, and then B, flying out of the U.S., you're going to get worried about dying in a plane crash. So that's all. There's also that.
If it wasn't for the fact that flying in and out of the United States or within the United States was safe at the moment, we would fly to California and because it's the closest point. And we would go to Trader Joe's, stock up on some reusable bags, because reusable bags are a thing here.
Yeah.
Which is great, because, like, nobody has plastic bags, and that's amazing.
Yeah. Literally, if you don't have a bag on you, you're fucked. Carry that shit out. Like, you're just fucked. Yeah.
Which I love, because I'm a carry-out type of person, but that means that I'm still learning to remember the bags. And I miss our Trader Joe's bags so much. So I'm like, we could have flown to the U.S., I could have stocked up on fucking coffee. And then I could have stocked up on Trader Joe's bags. On the cosmetics, we know, because again, the hair dye is different. The like cosmetics are different. Stocked up on all that stuff. And then flown back and been like, okay. And also stocked up on the interior design stuff because like I miss having easy access to like unique pieces. Like the glitter wallpaper that we had that was not expensive. Like, dude. Oh, that reminds me. This is one last baby rant that I will go on with y'all or that y'all are stuck suffering through. If you don't want to listen, you can just fast forward to the end. But in New Zealand, paint is incredibly expensive.
You still haven't seen the vlog? There's a part in the vlog. I so wish I would have edited this because there's a part in the vlog, you guys need to watch it too, where we are repainting the shop and Lou goes, oh my God, this is so expensive. And I so wish I would have just paused it at that moment and like did a voiceover of little did she know because paint here is so fucking expensive.
I'm talking about like a 1 gallon. I think God. Here it's 3 liters. Is that how they do it? 4 liters is 1 gallon is about 100 to 140 like New Zealand dollars.
Brother, it is so expensive.
It is ridiculously expensive. So that being said, I will give the leniency of not painting and decorating your home with colors to our like New Zealand friends here. Because it is like prohibitively expensive. However, if you are someone that earns a decently solid amount of money in the United States, I understand there's a lot of people that cannot afford to decorate their homes. However, I know tons of people that could, and you can skip 1 tattoo and be able to paint multiple rooms because it is not terribly expensive to paint your home and decorate your home in a beautiful way in America. So as someone who genuinely thinks that like interior design is just another form of self-expression, do better, American citizens. And if you're like, no, I can't. We're dealing with like a terrible fall of our like country. Yeah, rebel by decorating your house.
I will say, one of the things that I've really enjoyed out of social media, American social media as of late is the idea that like there is one thing that they cannot take away and it is your joy. So joy is rebellion, joy is infectious, and joy is still something you should chase regardless of the things that are happening in the world right now.
Yes.
That being said, if you're an American citizen listening to this, I'm thinking of you. I think of you every day. I stand with you, obviously. I can't be there in person. But please, for the love of God, get a passport at least.
Yeah, get a passport and explore your options to leave. 100%. If you are not safe or do not think you are safe, please figure out a way to get out. Mm-hmm. If you have the ability to get into a university anywhere, student visas are one of the easiest ways to secure your place in a different country.
Yep.
Like, that is the reason that we went with a student visa. So that way we had a path to citizenship. Mm-hmm. So I highly recommend exploring your options now before it is too late. And on that very sad, serious note, what's your win for the week?
On that sad, serious note, I would say my win for the week is, regardless of just being so I guess tortured and also just exposed to all the shit things that are happening in the US that are very emotionally draining. I will say that my win for the week is the fact that I haven't let that I guess evil or toxicity of President Trump, and
that's evil. Yeah.
Yeah. The evil of his actions turn into a bad self talk, I don't know, opportunity for myself. I've been really steadfast in making sure that I've been kind to myself, especially talking to myself. I think that when it comes to low self-esteem or a deteriorating mental state, when bad things are happening to you, make sure that you're not also being the bad thing that's happening to you. So that's my win for the week.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And
totally.
So that's so just fuck. I don't even know how to put that in a word. Yes. That.
Yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's my win. What's your win?
My win for the week is I guess in a conversation earlier, we were talking about how I am no longer participating in the negative self-talk. Mm-hmm. That was a part of my script for a really long time.
Totally.
So it is the case of no, I'm not going to feel bad. And we were talking about how we've technically had the lease for the building for a week now. Mm-hmm. But we are not at a place of completion with the house, or a place in which we can put a pause on the house. Mm-hmm. To be able to put our energy there. And before, I would have been oh no, you need to just start working. But it is prioritizing the fact that I still need to it's one thing at a time.
Yes.
I need to be able to rest. I need to create a home in which I can come home and rest, because we are, I've said a million times, rebuilding a life and not just reacting to situations. Mm-hmm. And in the past, when we first opened Cali Lou's, we were working more than full time at, as one of our clients stated, who I absolutely fucking loved for stating it this way, which is a studio who shall not be named.
Yes.
I love that quote so much. But we were working more than full time, and then also in the mornings, at 5 a.m. going to Cali Lou's and painting and working on that, and then tattooing all day, and then going back and working on it in the evening. And this time we made a conscious decision and really budgeted and saved a lot of money. Mm-hmm. To focus on being able to be no, we need to spend a couple months getting the house, getting everything in order.
Yep. So
we can be able to open the shop in a place of love and not just necessity of hey, we're just reacting to what's happening in front of us.
Absolutely.
And that has been a really big win, is that I am not operating out of a place of oh my gosh, if this doesn't happen, everything's going to fall apart. But instead being like you said earlier, gentle parenting. If it took you literally 6 hours mm-hmm. to put together the shoe cabinet, because it did not come with accurate instructions, nor was it accurately labeled.
Totally.
And if you don't believe me, fuck off, order something from Mighty Ape.
Was it Mighty 8 or was
It was Mighty 8.
Treasure Box?
It was Mighty 8.
I said Treasure Box on Insta.
I thought it was Treasure Box, but this one was Mighty 8.
Okay, good to know. Treasure Box actually lit. Like, my bed frame was, like, well done.
Treasure Box is where we got our bed frame, and then it instantly broke, which was really funny because I wrote a review. I read a reviews where the leg just fell off.
And you're like,
but luckily, I was like, well, don't drag your bed frame.
Yeah.
And then Caboose, like, went to go screw it in, and the screw just popped out. But luckily, like, again, we have the knowledge and resources to be able to fix it.
Yeah.
So that wasn't, like, an issue for us because we were like, okay, we'll fix it right now. And then we know how to better fix it later. But that person, solid. I should probably go and comment and be like, the same thing happened to us.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So before you think it's because, like, you're dragging bed frames or whatever, no, that's literally this bed frame.
I, again, victim blamed and was like, well, you probably did this. No, you didn't. It's poorly manufactured. And Mighty Ape, we ordered 3 things from, 2 of which came out great. 1 of which came with all the labels in the wrong spots. So it took me about 6 hours to put together a shoe cabinet.
Yep.
Because, again, I have to take care of my neurospicy self and cannot have shoes just out, especially because I live with quite possibly the dirtiest girl in the entire world who cannot keep white shoes. And the urge I have every time I see her shoes to go and bleach them is overwhelming.
I think it's so funny that y'all think that I'm put together and that I'm not a mess. I had an ex-coworker once tell me when he saw my binder that because, first of all, my binder for like shop paperwork and everything, none of the pages were in the actual binder because I was so unorganized because I'm moving shit around all the time. And, like, I just wouldn't clip them back in. Yeah. So it's just a loose stack of papers being somewhat held together by a binder that's really doing nothing.
And it sometimes has food all over it.
Well, listen, all right?
Peanut sauce. It was always peanut sauce.
Well, okay. Sometimes that shit explodes in my bag. And then sometimes Bailey takes a huge bite out of my binder. What am I going to do about it? Which, by the way, I brought my work binder here because I didn't know that A4 is the paper type that they use. So now all of my binders are useless. I brought binders here.
So again, another thing that's massively different is that I, too, brought all of our business binders.
Yeah.
And what am I going to do? I'm going to print the papers, like when we print our business documentation on 8x10s and then just spend time cutting them down.
Psych. It's A4 paper size now, right?
A4 paper type.
Is that the right name?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Because we bought paper and it's A4, and then I went to go put it in the sleeves in which I have all of this business stuff that is no longer useful here. And that is yet another thing that no one fucking
We're talking about color-coded binders.
Don't bring any of your, like, stationery.
Any of your binders that hold, like, 8x11s, just leave it.
But if you have a bed you like, buy 10 sheets before you come, because 10 sheets will last you a long, long time.
That is long.
And then just bring your fucking bed. Because I wish I would have. I genuinely wish that we would have had our bed shipped over because it was something we knew. And I miss that fucking bed so much. So I will go against the podcast that I listened to that was like, absolutely not. Don't bring anything. And don't bring your bed, especially because the sheets don't match. Stock up on your fucking sheets. Throw them in a tote somewhere. Bring your bed, bitch. Whatever you think, like go around your house before you move and ask yourself, does it give you fucking comfort? Not joy. Comfort.
Yes.
Because you will find joy again. But comfort is something that's completely different that takes a long time to establish.
That shit's way different, dude. Way fucking different. Yeah. Damn, dude. Yeah. So I don't know. I think it's real funny that y'all think that I'm put together. But he looked at my binder and he was like, wow, that's really unlike you. And I was like, no, it's not. Immediately. Okay, whatever. Immediately I was like, no, it's not. Because I'm like, what gave you the assumption that I had my life together?
Because your fashion, your makeup, everything is on point. You as a person, minus those dirty ass shoes. What did you say to me? Because your shoes just be shoeing? You just be trotting.
I'd be trotting. I'd be trotting. I'd be stomping.
Yes. Meanwhile, we both own the same white shoes, and mine are still pretty fucking
You've had them for
Not
longer.
like weird white, but like pretty white.
Yeah, you had them for longer too.
I'm going to go wash your shoes.
No. Okay.
So on that note, we will see you guys back next week. If you have any questions about the move, I am stocking up all the business questions, so that way we can just do one large business episode. But if you have any other questions, or if you're like, hey, tell me about whatever in New Zealand, we are more than happy to go find that information out. Unless it's like a weird request, I'm not going to like a dominatrix club to find out about that for you. I'm not going to learn a new sport because you want me to. I am not that person. However, we should encourage her because I really want her to play footy. So
I'd be such a cute football player.
You should.
Soccer for our American people out
It's
there.
football. You do it with a foot. It's football.
Oh my God. I know we talked about this briefly. I'm just one more
You're good.
segment. I saw people, we were at the park and I saw people playing, not baseball, but I thought it was baseball.
Cricket.
Like, oh my God, it was baseball. And then you started laughing and I was like, oh no, that is not baseball at all. Cricket. Brother, living in a different country is crazy. Anyways.
Oh, but we have a baseball bat that got shipped over with us. That was a form of self-defense. So I think now we should absolutely teach these people how to play baseball, which is great because I don't know how to play baseball.
Fuck if I know.
So
we tell them a bunch of American customs that don't exist. So it's good luck if we all eat a hot dog before the game.
Oh, I was going to say, once you, like, every time you hit the ball, you have to go, yeehaw! If you do not yeehaw when you make contact with the ball, that ball does not count. And then when you run, you actually have to run backwards to each base.
You're running backwards.
And you run them, like, third through first. So you run them, like, backwards against. And they can only, everyone while playing, because we are on the opposite hemisphere, so we're upside down, can only run backwards.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah.
And that's actually how we do it in America. But to you guys, it looks like we're running forwards because your TV is flipped because we're upside down.
Exactly.
It's the whole toilet water swooshing the wrong way thing. Okay, on that note, we will see you guys next week. Like, subscribe, share, all the shit I'm supposed to say to, like, boost our whatever. Yeah. But if you lasted this long, thank you so much. We really do appreciate you.
Yeah.
And we are really happy to do this podcast, not just for us, but also because maybe it makes someone out there who has recently moved and feels really sad, but feels like they're not allowed to be sad because it's worse for other people somewhere. I hope that you feel seen and recognized.
We're right there with you.
You can feel bad for yourself and for others.